Hey everyone, and welcome to the new Games Done Quick, Done Quick. I've been having some Done Quick Express.
The first ever Games Done Quick Express was a 2-day marathon of speedrunning that raised over $135,000 for a collection of 10 charities at TwitchCon. While it wasn't as huge an event as the usual week-long GDQs in the summer and winter, there were still plenty of crazy runs to see. In case you missed it, here are a few of the most unforgettable runs from the show. Super Mario Odyssey had its first race at a GDQ event just hours before the game's first birthday. And that means it has had a year for a huge community of speedrunners to perfect routes and movement techniques. That all came together in an incredible couple of runs by Nicrovita and Fur, two of the best Odyssey runners on the planet. GDQ mainstays Spike Vegeta and Trihex called the run the whole way, as the runners pulled crazy cap dives all over the maps, collecting moons in rapid succession. The race itself wasn't terribly close, as Fur pulled ahead early on an unfortunate death by Nicrovita, the only death by either runner in the whole race. But the run itself was extremely fun to watch, if only to see all that sexy movement tech twice.
That was fantastic.
Like most PC ports of games made in the early aughts, Grand Theft Auto Vice City is full of bugs, exploits, and odd glitches. KZ Fru made full use of those exploits, like hanging out of a helicopter during a turret sequence to increase firing speed and viewing angle, or traveling out of bounds, or duplicating cutscenes so that they happen twice in succession. The exploits were fast, but also hilarious.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah. And Fur's commentary throughout kept the run entertaining. And of course, the ending was about as vintage GTA as you can possibly get. Glitch a car into a house and run over the final boss with it. And then have it clip all over the game's ending cutscene. Perfection.
Wow, you ever just park your car in the cutscene?
Silent Hill 2 is one of the greatest horror games ever made, so it's a little surprising just exactly how much of the horror goes away when you just kind of run through everything. Ecdysis was responsible for carrying us through one of the more light-hearted romps through Silent Hill you'll likely ever see. From hilarious glitched boss fights to jokes about pineapple pizza.
That pizza is a pineapple pizza. The true survival horror.
The feeling of impending dread was sort of replaced by dancing around in front of Pyramid Head. Lots of running through a dark town, and a couple of out-of-bounds skips later, the Silent Hill 2 run full of levity ended the only way it possibly could have, with the dog ending, complete with a coordinated couch dance.
Do we have those plushies? Oh, there they are.
Titanfall 2 is a game built for speedrunning. I mean, that probably wasn't Respawn Entertainment's sole intention when they made it, but watching Brionato zip through the game so elegantly, you'd never know he was breaking the game's programming with momentum manipulation. With the constant momentum and pure speed through every stage, Titanfall 2 was one of the most visually appealing games at the event. And to top it all off, once the main run ended, Brionato took a few extra minutes to show off a few of the game's glitches, like the busted cutscene where the player gets saved from death by an invisible nothing.
So we get caught by an invisible hand, give him a thumbs up, BT's over there just chilling.
Usually, when people talk about blind runs of games, they're talking about going through a game they've never seen or played before. This was kind of the opposite. Rom Scout has played Castlevania Symphony of the Night so much, he knows how to get through the whole thing blindfolded. Now, even taking into account the fact that he couldn't see, this was not at all a clean run. If anything, it was stressful for both runner and watcher. It started with Rom getting distracted and losing his place, leading to a run restart.
It would just be easier to restart the run.
Once he got going, he lost a little more time when he lost track of one of the early bosses.
Okay, I did lose track of him, but I can summon Spirit him to death, so it's fine.
Then he ran into menu trouble after he wasn't sure what enemy drop he'd collected. But the real trouble came when he went for a boss skip and just couldn't get the setup to work. It took more than 10 minutes for him to get through that room and finish the rest of the run. Despite all that trouble, Rom kept the blindfold on and ended up finishing the game with a number of incredible precision tricks that he pulled off just from memory. And sure, he took an extra 24 minutes overestimate to do it. But that doesn't change the impressive fact that he beat a 12-hour video game in under an hour and a half without ever looking at it.
Time, right on.
You may not know this, but Super Metroid has a randomizer, a version of the game where items can be swapped into any position. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past also has a randomizer. This run at GDQ Express featured both, but was technically neither. This was a Super Metroid Link to the Past combo randomizer, in which items from both games were randomized across both games. Andy, a Link to the Past speedrunner, and Oats and Goats, a Super Metroid runner, teamed up on the combo randomizer, where swords were showing up on planet Zebes, and super missiles started popping up all over Hyrule. And for a minute, it looked like the two of them may finish both sides of the game in an incredible time, more than an hour under their estimate. But Andy decided to play the odds, gambling that even without the Pegasus boots, he had everything he needed to complete A Link to the Past.
Bro, I think about that.
Yeah, you think I should risk it for the biscuit,
I think
as
you
they
risk
say?
it.
All right.
Yeah.
He lost that bet, and hard.
Oh my God.
Okay.
That's really bad.
With the big key of Ganon's tower locked to a location that required the boots, Andy and Oats went from almost done to another entire hour of scouring every treasure location in both games for a pair of shoes. Once they found it, it barely took them 15 minutes to clear the final bosses of both games and still finish well under their estimate.
All right, well, that was the combo randomizer. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
That is not even nearly all the runs from this mini GDQ. And it's very likely, if you've been watching, that your favorite run from the show didn't show up here. So tell us about it in the comments below. I've been Dean from Curse, and I will see you again for AGDQ in January.
All right, Couch, come up here.